I'm your resident Senate president. That's still a tumble from my tongue. And this is the second time that we've asked residents to join us virtually. The first time, as you recall, last month is when we had our Senate board meeting with Paul Simpson chairing it. And today we're doing our resident Senate meeting where we'll have committee reports and some Q&As. And with me today, I've got Jerry Stryker. And also we have Monica McAfee. She's way off in the distance, and Bill Picard. And they'll be swapping out the third seat that's to Jerry's, what would it be? Jerry's left. We're doing this a little differently because when we originally thought we can't have the auditorium open for the residents, that'd be way too many. And we said, well, if we had the committee chairs and the committee liaisons and the Senate executive and the staff and the production crew, we added it up to about 48 people, which was a little over the number that you're supposed to have in one setting. So we've asked the Senate resident committee chairs to do their reports in a videoed format. And before we start, I've got a couple of announcements. It's my pleasure to make two appointments from the Senate Executive Committee. And the first is for the Resident Holiday Gift Fund for employees. And that's Bill Spiker has accepted this role. And I look forward to just a tremendous effort. And he did, if you recall last year, he had placemats out, and I'm sure that he'll be asking you. And it's not too late to start a deduction at the, what do you call that office? It's right across from you.
The foundation.
Accounting office, where you can make a monthly deduction so that at the end of the year you can really hit it hard. My second announcement is we've appointed Eleanor Smith, and she's accepted, to be our Senate Office Nominating Committee Chair. And the Senate Office Nominating Committee Chair is set up to take nominations for selection of the Senate President, Vice President, Secretary, and Treasurer. There's one qualification for President and Vice President, and that's a residency requirement of 12 months. So I think right now I'm just going to go right into it, and I'm going to ask Alan Isaac to give us our treasurer report. We still got some money in there?
We do. As of the end of July, our balance is $1,357.57. So we're above our $1,000 minimum.
Great. And now I think we're going to go right into the committee reports, Jerry, unless you have a few opening remarks.
Well, Pete, good afternoon. And good afternoon, John Knox Village. We really have been learning a lot about technology and how to keep good communication going. We hope that you will find this useful. We have appreciated a lot of the questions that we received in advance from our last video session, Pete, as well as this recent one. And we'll, as we go through our time together today, we'll respond to many of them. And if we miss or have an opportunity to get into more in depth on one-on-one responses versus what the video is intended to do, we want to make sure that you keep sharing your questions, and we appreciate your insights. So let's take it away.
Okay. In case you're wondering, I'm wearing a mask, but we have pretty good social distancing here. I'm about 7 feet away from Jerry, and there's another guest chair where Alan was sitting, and that's another 7 feet away from that.
Good afternoon, neighbors. It's good to see you all sitting there today. Of course, I can't see anybody. Most of this report is taken from the report of Director of Plant Operations, Tom Price, dated July 29, 2020. On Monday, workers began blowing in shotcrete for the resort pool. That is where concrete is sprayed into the pool area. Indoor work on the restaurant continues. The trenching and waterline connection work across Southwest 6th Street continues as is scheduled. Construction fencing is installed around 100 and 800 Lakeside Villas neighborhoods in advance of demolishing those villas for the Westlake Pavilion. The root pruning of trees has begun. Demolition should be started soon. The Hurricane Tower parking expansion remains on schedule for September completion. It will increase parking by 31 spaces. Crews continue to install impact windows in Village Tower. It should be completed in September to be followed by waterproofing and exterior painting. Grading and other work has begun on the expansion of the professional building parking lot. This will add 23 more spaces. Additionally, equipment will be put in place to bore northward underneath Southwest 3rd Street so that a 12-inch water line can be connected for additional water to the campus. In addition, from our committee meeting of July 14th, 2 new HVAC units, air conditioning units, have been installed at Castle Towers and are working fine. These had to be made especially for that building. The Rose Garden may have to be altered and raised to bring it up to the level required. Unfortunately, 2 black-necked swans have died. You may have noticed a blue wire crossing the road in front of Heritage Tower and running to the north side of the building. I have been told that it is a temporary to service Teltron system and then will be replaced soon. I was concerned about it coming loose under a vehicle, but it has been installed more securely lately. Thank you, Chairman Harry Wood, Building and Grounds and Housekeeping Committee.
Hello, my name is Fred Deppenbrock, and I'm the chair of the Senate Legislative Committee. Thank you for your interest by watching this video. The 2020 primary election is less than 2 weeks away, on Tuesday, August 18th. And I'm urgently asking you to cast your vote in this election, despite the COVID-19 pandemic and many other obstacles that have been giving you doubt about whether your vote counts. The Legislative Committee has prepared what we hope will be a good set of insights to help inform you on your voting choices in this primary election. First, there is a packet that we have prepared called Getting Ready to Vote. This packet contains what are the multiple layers of judgeships that appear on this ballot and what their responsibilities are as they do their work. Also, there are a number of maps and tables showing what each of these many layers of location and responsibility go with each elected position. In our minds, we consider it important for you to know what you are being asked to support by your vote by each of the candidates. There have also been a number of articles by committee members in the weekly, and there's been a lot of discussion and other handouts too. I hope you've been able to receive them. Since we could not have our customary gathering in the auditorium of residents and the candidates, we have asked all 75 primary election candidates to send us a short video that identifies themselves and why we should vote for them. We have received 42 of these videos and have developed them into 2 one-hour video presentations that are somewhat TV-like. One deals with all of the political party candidates. The other includes all of the judgeship candidates and those political candidates that work within the judicial system. These videos have been available at any time on JKV Connect under the heading, the tab that says Videos, and you'll find it there, and have been made available at fixed times on JKV Residence website and channel 8001. This year has been a wonderful opportunity for those of us on the Legislative Committee to exercise our ingenuity to bring the insights that will make our voting a valuable and informed addition to our government entities. Again, please be prepared to vote whether by mail or in person at designated off-campus locations or at our JKV poll right here in this auditorium. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm Tom McDowell, Chairman of the Healthcare Services Committee. In July, Leslie Schlinger and Maria Hanna helped the committee understand the changes in our hiring and recruiting processes that have occurred as a result of COVID-19 precautions. While turnover has been low, we continue to recruit and train healthcare workers using technology, primarily Facebook and something called WhatsApp. Training is mostly one-on-one, using current employees as mentors. At the meeting, the committee approved a $1,500 expenditure to purchase appreciation gifts in celebration of Nurses Week and CNA Week last month. In addition, we approved a similar $1,500 amount to purchase robotic cats and dogs in the hope that they will be beneficial for our isolated residents in the Woodlands and Seaside Cove. We discussed the possible uses of spaghetti dinner proceeds, which so many of you have generously donated from the funds you use to purchase tickets. A decision on use of those funds will be deferred until our next meeting, although we expect a proposal from Gardens West to purchase patio furniture. And finally, after the meeting, it was announced that due to the required lead time, our holiday bazaar would not be held this year. While this report is being recorded in advance of our August 7th meeting, we're looking forward to something we call Open Microphone Day, which is devoted to comments, questions, kudos, and concerns expressed by our members to a distinguished panel led by Bill Picard, Leslie Schlinger, and Mark Rayner. We also expect to review and change our policies for setting aside funds which are proceeds of our various fundraisers. On occasion, these funds have sat dormant for long periods of time, unused for the purpose intended. In that case, if funds sit dormant for more than a year, we expect them to revert to general health care uses as presented to the committee. Thank you very much.
Hello all. What a year. And we are only a little over halfway through. Suffice it to say, the pandemic has had an impact on our finances. And while there have been negative impacts, the news is not as bad as it could be. Here's a summary of the key factors. On the expenditure front, we're doing pretty well. COVID supplies have added roughly $40,000 to $50,000 per month to our outlays, or roughly 1% of JKV's maintenance costs. As of May 31st, total expenses were roughly 1.3 over budget. Unfortunately, revenues have not fared so well. As I reported to you in June, we had excellent sales January to March. But then COVID hit, and it became next to impossible to market on campus. Even so, we had 6 contracts sold in the April-May period, and we had several closings on contracts prior to the shutdown. Moreover, these sales had higher average prices, and therefore Jkv's profit margin was higher. Nevertheless, as of June 30th, independent living entrance fees were roughly $1 million below budget. How we fare for the remainder of the year will largely depend on when or whether we can begin marketing to outsiders here on campus. We know there is a lot of pent-up demand, and in light of how well we have done in keeping COVID at bay, Jkv is well positioned to see improved sales as soon as it is able to recommence marketing to outside buyers. Our inability to market on campus also means we have more vacancies in independent living units, and this means our maintenance fees are taking a hit. As of May 31, independent living maintenance revenue was down a little over $275,000. The third area where we have been hit hard is healthcare or rehab. As you all know, Jkv had to shut down its rehab operation because of the fear of importing the virus into our most vulnerable areas of operation. As of May 31st, revenue from this source was below budget by roughly $845,000. And finally, with the bistro closed, dining revenue is down. Well, that's enough bad news. Thanks to quick action on the part of the administration, Jkv did receive a $1.3 million stimulus loan that will not have to be paid back if used according to the terms and avoiding staff layoffs, and that is exactly what Jkv has done. That money has now been added to Jkv's cash position. Work is also underway preparing the Jkv budget for 2021. The goal is to reduce Jkv's operating deficit target of $2.5 million in 2020 to $2.2 million in 2021. A small task force of residents drawn from the fiscal committee has been meeting with staff to provide input to this process. The proposed 2021 budget will be presented to the Jkv Board Finance Committee at its August meeting. Okay, so bottom line, it's been a rough year so far. But if we had not gotten the stimulus loan, things would have been a lot worse. And there is the promise of pent-up interest in the outside world in Jkv that we are hearing. Let's pray for the end to the pandemic. Respectfully submitted, Terry Cawley, Chair.
Good morning. I'm Ann Archard, and I am filling in today for Kit Fraser to give her report. For the Dining Committee. The Dining Committee has been meeting via Zoom on the regularly scheduled first Tuesday of the month. The comments from the residents have been essentially favorable. The issue with the phone system appears to have been solved. If the line is busy when you call, it will roll over automatically. Don't give up. It should work well now. If you have the sorry about that. You can order your meals by email, which is really the very best way to get through and know that everything will work well. You can order all 3 meals at the same time, which makes the issue much easier to take care of. The majority of the residents are satisfied. Please remember that the dining room is serving between 300 and 350 meals a day. That's a lot of food containers to be packed up, and they're working very hard to keep us happy. The new containers that they were using for a while are on back order, and they expect them momentarily. They are recyclable. It'll be nice to get away from the styrofoam again, because that's such a waste. If there's any more issues, Kit will be reporting at her next time. Thank you, and you all stay well.
Good morning. My name is Karen O'Day. I represent Gardens West as the Senate Committee Chair. Kelly McIntyre is the administrator. Sherelle Lowe, the Gardens West Meaningful Life Coordinator, reported that 5 more life bios have been sent to the company for printing. A member of the Trust Bridge staff has held discussions on the loss of family and friends. There have been rolling card activities on Fridays. Birthdays are celebrated every month, and there was a special party for a resident who turned 100. In addition, Sherelle has had a Christmas in July celebration, as well as encouraging the pottery painting. George Bashinsky and Georgiana Schultz are working together to get an alternate senator for Gardens West. Kelly's Corner. Kelly reported as of Monday, August 3rd, there were 45 residents. 6 rooms are ready for new occupants. COVID-19 updates. All staff, including maintenance and private aides, are tested every 2 weeks. The residents are eating in the Gardens West dining room on a 25% seating plan. The others are eating in their room. Gardens West residents are allowed to leave the building. It is requested that they wear masks. Kelly provided a PowerPoint presentation on new furniture for the back patio, front patio entrance, and the 3rd floor porch. Money from the generous donations from Rotary, the Fall Bazaar, and the spaghetti dinner will be used. Renovations for the interior are still on hold. More information will be available around December. Thank you.
This is the Senate Library Committee report from August 2020. The committee met on July 13th, the first since our March meeting. We had some members present and attempted to also present it as a Zoom meeting with limited success. However, the meeting was very informative and, as usual, full of ideas and statistics. The volunteers for all the libraries presented figures regarding the circulation over the months from March through June. This included all 4 towers, DVD library, large print library, and the paperback library. This is a problem in all the libraries, so accurate statistics are difficult when people don't sign out for their books. Of the actual items checked out, we had a total of over 2,000 items, mostly books, of course. An upcoming project for the tower libraries will involve providing notebooks, which will include names of the books purchased for the year, listed by the months in which they were added. This will make it easier to look back through the months to see if we have a certain book. The notebook will include other information such as bestseller lists and up-to-date lists of donations from residents. The need for weeding collections was discussed, always a difficult issue. Jeannie Jordan reported on the success of the Jkv Book Club. It is growing due to the change to a Zoom-style meeting. This committee works with the book club and helps to provide books throughout the year. New books and library supplies have been ordered. Thanks again to RAS for providing funding for the libraries. Respectfully submitted, Marcia Ellington, Chair.
Hello, we are Diane and John Dalsimer. We are the co-chairs of the Life Enrichment Committee. While the continuing COVID-19 pandemic caused a general shutdown of the usual campus activity, the Life Enrichment Department continued to dream up new ways to keep us active and engaged. Jameson Becker and her staff, Yael Fishman, B. St. Pierre, Joshua Teddy Tenney, Jackie Thompson, Nick Sconier, Ryan Peterson, Marty Engel, Sherelle Lowe, Reverend Bridget Sullinger, along with Marcia Dixon, head of the fitness department, and her staff, Jasmine Franchi, Eric Nenortis, Maria Leone, and Ashley Tarantola, challenged residents, kept us active, and entertained us.
Rob Seitz and all the other departments cooperated to keep us informed of the ever-changing health guidelines, available virtual experiences on our TVs and the internet, stimulated gatherings where permissible, while dining services kept us well fed. The fitness staff did their best to keep us moving. Our committee members participated in many of the offerings on campus, and we held our last several monthly committee meetings while staying at home and signing into Zoom, where we could see and hear each other. We hope you agree that the meeting of the challenges of the last few months has resulted in maintaining the high quality of life enrichment we enjoy here at John Knox Village.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm Dick Mellett, Chair of the Long Range Planning Committee. At our June 23rd virtual meeting, the speaker was Mr. Danny Elfenbein with Baptist Health South Florida. He discussed the care on demand and telehealth concept which is being used by Jkv employees. Baptist Health has been providing care on demand services for several years. The service is available 24/7 nationwide. Prescriptions are sent directly to the patient's preferred pharmacy. It is anticipated the Baptist Health service would be used by Jkv independent living residents for some routine doctor visits and particularly after-hours urgent care and hospital ER visits. To participate in Baptist Health Care on Demand, a resident must have access to a computer or smartphone with the Baptist Health app downloaded. To talk to a doctor, the patient opens the app, types in the problem, and sends it to Baptist Health, who then notifies the patient of doctor availability. The patient selects a doctor and is provided the estimated wait time, usually less than 10 minutes. Most doctors' visits average 15 minutes. The doctor will create an electronic medical record that the patient can share with his or her regular doctor. The Baptist Health standard charge for care on demand call is $59. However, John Knox has negotiated a charge of $20 for Jkv residents and staff. This must be paid by credit card before the call will be arranged. Baptist Health will not submit a claim to Medicare. The resident can file, but presently Medicare will not pay for the visit. John Knox staff will provide training and assistance for residents who are interested in participating in Baptist Health Care on Demand services. We did not have a meeting in July. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Reed Brown, Chairman of the Security Transportation Committee. These are the minutes of the last meeting on June 16th. The guns on campus report was given by Fran Murphy. We have 9 residents that do have weapons on campus, and this is based on 50% of the residents responding with the forms. An update on the vehicles. We have bought 3 2020 Kia Optimas. We received a grant. We received great savings, with purchasing these 3 vehicles. They were the easiest to get in and out of. We did try different vehicles, and these were the easiest. We made a good choice also because all the options that we received on these vehicles, safety and what have you. The only thing we are changing is switching to leather seating to make it easier to clean them. Let's see, the report on the guards uniform. It's been brought up to the committee that rather than looking like guards at our gates, it might be nicer if we had like a resort garments, and that's still being worked on, and we'll discuss an update at that at a later meeting. We're trying to make the campus look friendlier. An update on transportation around the village. We're still working on the on-demand service and looking at other options. Scheduling the service around the campus is by far the most efficient, and that would also give you or let you know exactly when the transportation would be available at your particular building, so you wouldn't have to wait around or make a call. Most other communities like us do it on a scheduled basis, and we are continuing to research that. Right now, we don't have on-demand service or any type of service, really. The only other comment is the off-campus transportation right now is strictly for medical appointments. And that is the summary of the minutes from June 16th. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon. I'm Marty Engel, reporting for Art Batista on the Volunteer Committee. We did not have a July meeting, however, some progress was made in the following areas. The Village Friend Project. An article explaining the project appeared in the Weekly. In addition, marketing created and distributed a poster explaining the project. As a result, a number of residents have volunteered to write note cards for the homebound elders in the Woodlands and Seaside Cove. We hope to get the project started in the next few weeks by distributing names and note cards to the residents who have volunteered. Next, the annual Fruits of Our Labor event will not be held this year. However, the committee will attempt to find out if there are any residents who should be recognized for their contribution. Further discussions will take place on this. Thank you very much.
Hi, my name is Elizabeth Cobb, and I'm reading the Communications Committee report for Nancy Peltzer. Communications Committee. While Nick Sconies is away this month for military reserve duty, Ryan Peterson will answer your technical questions and give technical problem appointments. There will not be any technical in-person classes until Nick returns in September. The Weekly needs to receive many more articles submitted by residents. Please do your best by sending informative, comforting, and even amusing items of general interest. The Jkv Alert System was successfully used recently to notify residents in affected areas to let them know of an AT&T administrative phone outage. We expect to see this system used on an as-needed basis from now on. When you have other AT&T outages or problems with phone, internet, and television, you are asked to call the special Jkv hotline phone number for AT&T support. That number is 954-788-2000. I'll repeat, it's 954-788-2000. Also, you will find the complete hotline phone menu on Jkv Connect under General Information, General Notices. The resident red light randomly going on and off is not a worry, rather an annoyance. It is the result of issues connected with construction digging. The same is sometimes true for the random, high-pitched and annoying squeaks from your apartment fire alarms. Respectfully submitted by Nancy Peltzer, Chair. Thank you.
Well, welcome back. I wanted to make sure that I mentioned that if you want to be considered for nominating in one of the Senate executive positions, the president, vice president, secretary, or treasurer, please contact Eleanor Smith and let her know your interest. Thank you. And now I'm going to ask, I'm going to introduce Tom Price, who has some of the has some questions that were sent in. And then following that, I think, Jerry, you have a presentation on the overall construction, correct? Okay, yeah, Tom.
Start with the Welcome Center. So the Welcome Center, that project is finally wrapping up. The marketing team will be moving into that project this coming Friday. TCO will be in place today, and over the next couple of weeks, we will get on CO, which requires just some paperwork.
So as we share these acronyms, now everybody may know what that means, huh?
Okay, so in order to move into these spaces, we have to have a temporary certificate of occupancy. And what that means is that we are, all the MEPs, life safety issues are taken care of. We're down primarily to just handling paperwork and cleaning up paperwork with the city. Here's a project. This isn't a rendering. This is the actual Welcome Center project as of last weekend. Looking at it from the just a little bit south of the gate. This is the main entrance coming into it. This is the back patio with the furniture that'll be used both for with residents we have now, as well as marketing events in the future. As you walk into the Welcome Center, we have the Design Center. And what you're seeing here is this display here will have all the cabinets. It'll have granite samples, backsplash samples, flooring samples, all built into this one display here. And as if you want to move stuff around, you can change these samples around for each cabinet. This can also be used, and we put a top on it, and it can be used for marketing for special events, like a special table for display events. Here's another picture of the front entrance of the Welcome Center. This is a typical office for the sales and marketing team. This one happens to be looking out on the back patio. Now the aquatic center is moving along, not as fast as we'd like, but like everything else, we are being impacted by COVID. But we are shooting for an October completion date. This picture here shows the lap pool. It's been shot, and they're actually installing the tile along the water line at this point in time. You can also see the resort pool. It's been shot with the concrete. And then in the background, you see the main building, which is where the grill will be. At this point in time, the slab hasn't been poured, but that slab was poured today. And the other two smaller buildings are a storage building and the pool equipment building. Here's another look at the main grill. This is over on the right is where the fireplace will be. Over on the far left is where the bar will be in the grill area. Here's another shot of the resort pool. And just part of the construction site is where we're trying to get things wrapped up. Attached with this project is also the Tropics Grill. This is the interior view of the Tropics Grill, the dining area. As you can see, it's coming along very rapidly. It will open up in conjunction with the Aquatic Center, although it'll probably be completed several weeks to a month before that. As you can tell, they're already putting in the booths and equipment there, and also the kitchen, which we don't have a picture of today. The main grills and freezers and coolers are already installed. Here's another picture showing the booth area, and a final picture showing the booths looking towards the Aquatic Center. Other projects that we have going on campus are the Village Center window and waterproofing project. We are currently installing impact windows in the center section of Village Towers. The east end is complete, other than a couple of units that were skipped. We'll be coming back to those. Waterproofing and painting is starting. We've probably seen some work going on the east and west towers. We're hitting those areas first. That project, we originally slowed it down due to COVID, but we worked through that, and that project's moving forward. Another project that's been brought up in several meetings is the Heritage Tower interior renovation project. We have design completed on that project. We have our original pricing completed on that project. We will be working with the Heritage Tower resident team to go over that design and get that finalized and get final sign off with the residents. And at the same time, we're trying to go through and look at it to see if we can figure out a way to do some of the work ourselves with our own team. This is an effort to try to minimize the amount of outside contractors we have inside of our residential buildings. So that project is continuing. We plan on bringing the proposal to the Building and Grounds Committee in October for Building and Grounds Committee approval and Finance Committee with final pricing and schedules at that point in time.
Board level. The board building and
The
ground.
board will be reviewing it, yes, in November.
Well, thank you, Tom. Now what we'd like to do is check in with our partners from Moss Construction. We have a video to share with you some highlights on how we're advancing as we develop the pavilion. Greetings, John Knox Village. It's good to see you. Well, we're practicing good, safe distancing as we do these video sessions, and I'd like to welcome back our partners from Moss Construction. Hello, Steve. Take it away.
Thank you, Jerry. Yes, I'm Steve Whitmer with Moss Construction. I am the general superintendent out here. I'll be the face that you'll be seeing that's out here in the field on a daily basis, and wanted to get together this month just to give you guys an overview of what we're doing out here and bring you up to speed of where we've been. We've been out here about 4+ weeks, and everything's going fine. I just want to give you a look at everything that's going on here. So what we got is, this is an overview of your campus, north being at the top of the page. You have, as a reference for you, this is Lake Maggie, Rex Foster Lake. You got 3rd Street, 6th Street, and this is the whole campus basically from a 30,000 feet view. So where we are and where we started about 4 weeks ago, as we met 4 weeks ago, and I gave you guys a preview of what we were going to be doing. We started over in the Heritage parking lot, then we went over to the Professional Center parking lot, and eventually moving down in the pavilion. So let me just give you an overview of everything. So this is the Heritage parking lot, and you got the Heritage Tower, and then you have the Woodland Tower. You have your dog park right here, and then let's go on over to the west now, and you got your Professional Center, your parking lot, and 3rd, like I told you, and your main drive that comes on through where most of your people that actually work here, your employees, come in through that gate over here, versus your main gate, which is over by the Dixie Highway entrance. So, and then you've come on down, we have, like I said, Lake Maggie, Rex Foster Lake, and this is where your future pavilion is going to be built. It's going to be a beautiful place. We're really excited to build it for you and make all your dreams come true with this thing. And you have your existing dining hall, which essentially that's what this is going to be taking the place of, and we'll be tearing that down after all the construction is done. So if we could, I'd like to give you another slide look at that's actual construction that's going on that we took from a helicopter, and it's pretty cool stuff. Let me show you. So next slide, if we could, please. Okay, so this is actually the Heritage parking lot you guys are looking at right here. North being up here, you got your Woodland Towers, you got your dog park, you got the Heritage, which is over here, and this is your Heritage parking lot. And what we're doing here is we're actually expanding the parking lot to give you an additional 30 spaces to park. And you know, it's for everybody that's coming to visit you guys, and I know parking is a premium here, and we're noticing that on a daily basis. So we get it, and we're here to make it happen for you. So what we did, and as I told you 4 weeks ago, we were going to come in here, we put the fence in like we talked about. We demoed a little bit of the grass. We took out some of the bad soil that was there. Now we brought in structural fill and structural rock, and now we're to a point which probably next week we'll be paving this side of that parking lot. And then from the paving, we'll start the curb work, the landscape, some new site lighting, make it look really pretty. And then in about 2 weeks, we're going to come over to the east side of the Heritage parking lot and do the same thing, but not as much. We're going to expand a couple of the handicap spots, reconfigure some of the curbs, just a sexy sex appeal, if you will, to bring it up to date. And then we're gonna be opening up the whole parking lot by the end of September. And that's pretty much takes care of that whole thing, and then we'll move on from there. So we go to the next slide. All right, so here we have the professional center parking lot. And here being north again, here's your professional center, your Woodlands. And what we've done here is because we didn't want to take over the whole space at one time, we broke it up into 3 sections, if you will. So on the northeast corner is where we started. We started there last week. Pretty much the same operation. You know, we put our fence in, we got rid of the grass, got rid of some dirt, and now what we're doing is we're bringing in some drainage structure. So it's a little bit different scope of work here. What we're going to be doing, adding more parking spots and new drainage to support all that new parking. So that way, when it rains, because I think you guys have been having some flooding issues out here, so that will help and keep it from being compromised. So basically what we're doing here, like I said, northeast side first. We got approximately 3 months in that area, and then from there we'll jump over and actually do the west side of that on the same quadrant, but north of the PC, if you will, and it'll be the same thing. We'll be bringing in a new water line, new parking, same thing. And that'll be another 2 months, and then from there, be 2 more months, and we'll be coming down to the whole southeast and just renovating that whole thing, updating it, new curbs, new site lighting, just a complete overlay and just bringing it up to speed. So you have a brand new parking lot at the end of the day, beginning of the year, everything's done. And then from there, we go to the pavilion, the granddaddy of them all. So let's go. So here we are. Let me bring you up to where we are. This is the Rex Foster Lake, which everybody knows, your existing dining hall, Seaside Cove, Maggie Lake off in the distance. So here, the plan is to get your pavilion going and get it built. And we're really excited, as I told you before, to get that going. So what we've done in the past weeks, and you guys have probably noticed it, you see all these fences that are going around Lake Maggie. You might see some fences going around the green area right here between Seaside Cove and Rex Foster Lake. What we're doing right now and is on the east side of Rex Foster Lake, you have those cottages that surround that. We are going to be doing a demolition of those cottages to make the area available for the work that we're getting ready to put in place. And also we have the fences that are going right here, which is going to be for the pavilion. So what I should tell you also is the area where Rex Foster Lake and the cottages is, which is a little bit longer term down the road, but it's going to be an IL tower, which is an independent living tower, which is going to be a really beautiful structure there as well. And Jerry, that's where we are currently right now. I mean, I don't know if you want me to expand on anything else.
Steve, this is great update, and one of the things that we know is there's fences around all the villa areas.
Yes, sir.
One of the things that residents like to do here is walk our botanical garden.
Mm-hmm.
So we want to make sure that where the fences are and people start to head down sidewalks, we might put some signage out so that before they get to the dead end and realize they can't go anywhere.
Yes, sir.
That might help people to know when they're out doing their walking. So on the east where we have fences around the villas, that has come to my attention, so we can work on that. And then again, our focus right now is we've approved the pavilion. All of the aspects around the Westlake independent living residence is all being worked on as far as the marketing process, as well as the city process. So that's out in the distant future. Our focus right now is this pavilion, which has been approved. How many months to finish it?
14 months, Jerry, once we
So
start.
roughly what time frame is that next year?
All right, so we're looking to break ground here somewhere around the beginning of October, which would put you December the following year.
Or the early part of the following year of 2022. So all of our dining and lakeside, we'll keep you posted as to how we'll use that. And then, of course, you know that we're finishing up the Tropics and the aquatic complex. We'll be using that area when we get situated and have to encroach upon some of this area. But all of that is in the future, but it's really exciting to have you back to learn about the pavilion and how we've made progress on parking, how we've made progress with our professional center building. Those tenants in that building are very important to us, so we want to make sure that as we share this with residents, staff, and our friends in the professional center building, everybody knows what's happening. So more on that next month as we welcome back Steve, but thank you, buddy.
You got it.
Well, welcome back on Knox Village. I have two of my wonderful colleagues with me that are going to share some updates. So Bill Pickard, our Chief Operating Officer. Good afternoon, Bill.
Good afternoon, Jerry. Good afternoon, residents. It's great to have you with us virtually. We're glad we're able to give you this update today. So I'd first like to start with providing an update on the new screening tool. We have not officially kicked that off for use of residents yet, and we won't do so until we have a training video that we will be producing for you. That will provide all the information on how to use the tool. It'll share why we went to that level of the tool, and it'll be a great, once the video is done, you will see how easy it is to use. And that should be coming out within the next week. The next item I want to provide an update on is to share a little more about our change in human resources. I'd just like to say that we're off to a great start. Last week, there was an email that went out and a notification to the residents that listed the team members' names, a little bit about their background and history, and the role that they're going to play for us in our human resources department. So that will continue, and for those residents that had interactions with human resources, continue to do so, and that team is very welcoming. I'd like to move over into some of the questions that we've received from the residents. There have, over time, been questions related to whether John Knox Village would sell masks during this COVID time. And the reality is the old adage of, as opposed to providing food, teach people how to fish. So what our preference is to teach people through Life Enrichment how to order online. And those are courses that Teddy has facilitated in the past. And similar to ordering through Instacart or the other services, we'll teach people how to order the masks online. That way our staff can focus on managing inventory for the healthcare providers. The next item I'd like to go over is a little bit about self-isolation. There seems to be speculation that if somebody is isolating in their home, that is because they have been tested positive for COVID. And that's simply not the case. There's a whole host of reasons why individuals self-isolate. And that could be that they went to their doctor's office for a medical appointment and therefore they were potentially exposed, or they could have visited the hospital or gone to an outpatient surgery center. There's a whole host of reasons why individuals are self-isolating. So what I would recommend is that we certainly don't speculate, and we absolutely don't COVID shame, which is interesting. I watched a newscast last week on the psychological effect of how people feel when they identify as positive or people speculate that they are positive. It really does create some psychological trauma. So I'm going to ask that people don't speculate. There's a whole host of reasons why people are self-isolating. Another question that seems to be relatively common, and it comes into the administrative office, not just when we receive the cluster questions, but on a regular basis, and that is about the testing. So I'd like to give an opportunity to just share with all the residents the various different testing we've done on campus, so that everyone is informed. Every 14 days, through the Department of Health, all employees that work in healthcare are being tested for COVID-19. And that includes anyone from Life Enrichment that goes into the healthcare buildings. It includes maintenance and housekeeping. So it's not just direct care staff. It's anyone that goes into the healthcare building. And that is every 14 days. For the independent living residents, we've had two different instances. One instance, we had Phoenix Lab on campus. And then a few weeks ago, we had another lab that was co-shared with the Department of Emergency Management. So those were opportunities for independent living residents. As far as other staff, we have been providing our staff with the local test sites. And if there are instances where someone believes that they're exposed, we have made other arrangements for testing. I'd also like to share that we are in the process of trying to negotiate purchasing the devices that do the testing here on campus so that we can test all of our employees regardless of the department. At the same time, I am working on negotiating with the lab that came through a few weeks ago with the mobile bus, whereby they provided results within 24 hours. And Certainly, if we're able to continue the negotiation and get to a price that we can afford, it makes sense to have them do the testing for us because of the great service and response. So that's a little bit about testing. Another question that has come in a few times is where we stand on the clinic. We do have a goal of opening the clinic by the end of this fiscal year. So hopefully by 12/31, we will have our clinic open over in the professional building. There's lots of plans underway over there. There's a lot of moving that will be going around between the existing John Knox Village offices and human resources to make way for the new clinic. So those are the updates that I have based on the questions that came through. I look forward to continuing to provide support and answers to questions as they come in. Jerry, I'll turn it back over to you.
Thank you, Bill. Keeping our residents informed on all things COVID and directly, indirectly is one of our important responsibilities. And I know that in the last month, I've shared in writing with you how we are continuing to keep our residents, our staff, our families all informed. And I look forward to being able to have Bill and other team members continue to do just that. Well, Monica, welcome back.
Thank you, Jerry.
And I know you've had a chance to visit with family, and that's always fun. So I can see that in your smile today.
Well, thanks, Jerry. It was a great visit. I look forward to visiting with you all soon. I've really missed you, and it's always a treat when I get to bump into someone as we're running across campus. So despite COVID, I want to share some really uplifting news in the sense that we recently completed a market survey analysis, kind of some industry intel, if you will, with our surrounding competitors. And I recently reported last week at the marketing board committee meeting that John Knox Village, actually for unit acceptance, people who are going under contract for coming to move to JKV, as well as financial possessions and moving in, our numbers are much higher than the local competition. So we're at about an 89% rate on that as compared with the competition. And I'm going to share some of that information with you in an update for the weekly. So look forward to receiving that. I want to share some statistics with you just to give you an overview. I've shared with you that we had a really robust first quarter. And then as we moved through COVID, we saw in the month of March, we were so fortunate to still have 7 UAs with 7 financial possessions. And then in April, with COVID kind of coming first onto the scene, we had 2 UAs and 1 financial possession. And then in May, 4 unit acceptance, and we didn't have any financial possessions in that month. But June, 4 UAs and 2 financial possessions. And then July, 4 unit acceptance and 6 financial possessions. So that's a really important point, that despite COVID, people are still anxious now to begin to move into John Knox Village. Of course, we follow all the precautions with screening and making sure everything is done safely. For August, we anticipate having 3 unit acceptance and as many as 5 financial possessions. So the objective now in this latter part of as we move into the 3rd and 4th quarter, that we really continue to work by using our lead base to try to get those move-ins. So look forward in the future to receiving some information about our resident referral program for residents and friends. As you know, you all are our best supporters, our marketing ambassadors, and best salespeople. For some of you, you may not have participated or be aware that we're doing a series of webinars because that's the best way to reach people these days. We've also gone to small group tours where we've had less than 8 to 10 people on campus. But given the spike, we've gone back down to about 2 to 3 people on campus at any one time with our life plan consultants. So those are all good and exciting things. And then you did get to see in Tom's presentation the Welcome and Innovation Center. And we really look forward to hosting you all for visits. We'll do a sign up for that. You'll be able to do that through Life Enrichment, to call to make your reservation to tour. And then hopefully in late September, we'll be doing a grand opening. And we may have to do multiple grand openings, which just means that we have so much more to celebrate. And then we'll also be looking as the aquatic complex comes together, having a grand opening for that. And we'll do that in combination with the foundation. And in the next few days, you'll also hear some exciting news about our naming process for the pavilion venues for restaurants, the Westlake amenities area where we'll have a fast casual dining, as well as the what we've been referring to as the Tropics Grill And we'll have a nice new name for that as well to share with you. And just to reiterate that, of course, residents were involved in that whole process. So it's been a very exciting time. I want to thank you. If you have any suggestions, ideas, or any referrals for us for sales, we would be incredibly appreciative, and just call us in the sales office. Thank you so much, and I really do look forward to seeing each of you personally very soon.
Thank you. Exciting moments happening here, Pete. And as we transition over to some thoughts we want to share before we end our update today, I just wanted to share with you the excitement as well as the, it's always difficult when someone retires knowing a transition is coming up. And Nanette Olson has been here at Jkv for 8 years and counting. And so we are excited to be able to work through the end of December with Nanette. She's offered to be available for us as we find that new successor. But Nanette Olson and how she has left a legacy and will continue to help Jkv with our capital campaign and beyond. Thank you, Nanette, for all of what you've brought and given to Jkv. I know you as residents and team members will help me as you see her on campus, acknowledge her wonderful contributions, and we'll celebrate in some way as we work towards the end of December for her retirement, Pete. I also would like to just acknowledge one idea you had that our team of Life Enrichment has been thinking about. We'd like to really be able to bring back our tenured staff and honor them in their anniversaries, as we would typically do pre-COVID, right here in this space. And so we're gonna look to have some fun, similar to how those Thursdays where we shared gratitude, how we can share gratitude with our team members that have hit 5, 10, 15, and well beyond. Back to you.
Hey, thank you. I feel fortunate that we're going to be doing that again, because I feel that's a really important recognition, because as well as you have employees that you really value, the residents just love them as well too. And we're going to miss Nanette. She's really been a staunch resource for me and for a lot of other people. She's the committee liaison for 2 of our committee chairs, and going to be a hard person to replace. And well, I thank you for tuning in for this hour session. And I just want to remind you that on September 14th, we're going to have a resident board meeting with chaired by Paul Simpson and Jerry. And then our next resident senate meeting will be October 5th. And wouldn't it be nice if we could do it live again? But if not, we'll use the video presentation that we have here. Thank you. Thank you. Good afternoon.